ladies and gentlemen, friends and seekers of truth and strength. Today I want to talk to you about something that almost all of us have faced at one time or another, that moment when someone you care about starts to pull away, that time when you feel ignored, left out, or unseen. Maybe it's a friend who no longer calls, a family member who grows distant, or even a colleague who suddenly goes cold. And when this happens, our first instinct is often to wonder, why? What did I do? But I want to say to you today, don't go chasing those who distance themselves. Don't go pouring your energy into understanding why you aren't enough for someone else. Instead, I want you to focus on this simple, powerful step. Turn your gaze inward and just do this: love yourself more. When someone distances themselves or ignores you, it's easy to believe that it's because there's something wrong with you. But I'm here to tell you, don't let someone else's distance make you feel unworthy. Sometimes people pull away because they're dealing with their own challenges, their own insecurities. Sometimes they're just not ready to meet you where you are. And you know what? That's okay. In those moments, I want you to stop asking, why don't they see my worth? And start asking, how can I see my own worth more fully? Every single one of us was born with a light that's unique, a voice that matters, a soul that's worthy of love and respect. No one person's attention or approval can define your value, because you are already complete. You don't need to change who you are to be enough for anyone else. So here's what you do: pour that energy into loving yourself. Feed your passions, nurture your dreams, and build the life you envision. You'll find that when you stop chasing after others, the right people will be drawn to you. They will see you not because you chase them down, but because they recognize in you something real, something genuine. That's how true connections are made, through shared respect and understanding, not through force or desperation. So let them distance themselves if they need to. Let them ignore you if that's their choice. But you keep growing, you keep shining, and you keep loving yourself, because you are worthy just as you are. And the people who are meant to be in your life will see you, truly see you, and they'll choose to stay. Thank you. Instead of questioning why someone is distancing themselves, use this opportunity to reflect on your own needs, values, and growth. Focus on understanding and strengthening your own self-worth. Use the time and energy you might have spent on someone who is pulling away to nurture yourself. Engage in practices and passions that build your confidence and happiness. Recognize that people often pull away due to their own internal struggles, which may have nothing to do with you. Don't let their actions dictate your self-worth. See their distance not as rejection, but as an invitation to empower yourself. Build resilience by focusing on what you can control: your response and your growth. Redirect your energy toward positive and fulfilling connections. Honor the people who choose to be present in your life, and respect the space of those who don't. Each connection, whether strong or distant, teaches us something. Be grateful for the experience and move forward with a deeper understanding of yourself. When you let go of chasing people, you create space for genuine connections. The right people will value and see you for who you are. Use this as a chance to build healthy boundaries. Your happiness and peace should never depend on someone else's attention or validation. Your value isn't determined by another person's response to you. Remind yourself that you are already whole, complete, and enough. Forgive and release any hurt, and walk forward without resentment. By focusing on your joy and purpose, you create a life filled with people who appreciate you for who you are. When someone distances themselves from us, the natural reaction is to wonder why. Often we find ourselves obsessing over what we might have done wrong, or endlessly analyzing the other person's actions, looking for clues to understand the change in behavior. It's human to want answers and closure, to make sense of why someone might pull away, especially when we've invested emotionally in that relationship. But in these moments, instead of trying to understand every little detail or fix the situation, there's a transformative power in turning inward rather than outward. Turning inward is not about ignoring the situation or pretending it doesn't affect you. It's about taking a step back and refocusing on yourself, examining your own thoughts, needs, and feelings with honesty and compassion. When you shift your focus from external validation to internal growth, you allow yourself the space to reconnect with your inner voice. This process helps you discover what matters most to you, independent of anyone else's opinion or behavior. This inward journey begins with letting go of the need for explanations. It's important to recognize that other people's actions are often influenced by their own experiences, insecurities, and challenges factors that have little to do with us. When someone distances themselves, it might reflect something they are going through, not a judgment of your worth or a reflection of your character. By letting go of the assumption that their actions are a response to you, you free yourself from taking on the weight of their decisions and emotions. Turning inward also means setting aside the impulse to seek validation from others and instead building self-worth from within. In a world that frequently emphasizes external validation, social media likes, career achievements, and relationship status, we're often encouraged to measure our worth based on how others view us. When someone pulls away, it can feel like a blow to that external measure of worth. But this is an opportunity to nurture your own sense of self-worth that isn't dependent on anyone else's opinions or presence in your life. This process isn't always easy. It requires a commitment to self-reflection and a willingness to confront uncomfortable emotions. Turning inward asks you to acknowledge any pain, disappointment, or fear that may surface when someone distances themselves. Maybe it reminds you of past rejections or brings up old insecurities, but instead of letting those feelings drive you to pursue the other person or to change yourself in a bid for acceptance, recognize these feelings as parts of your journey toward self-compassion and self-acceptance. Give yourself permission to feel hurt, but also allow yourself the freedom to move through and beyond it. Inward focus also encourages you to take stock of what truly makes you feel fulfilled and at peace. What do you need in relationships? What do you need in relationships? What are your boundaries? By turning inward, you give yourself the time and space to examine what aligns with your values, what you're willing to compromise on, and what isn't worth sacrificing. This clarity helps you avoid situations where you're compromising your own well-being just to be closer to someone else. You begin to recognize that you deserve relationships that honor and uplift you rather than ones that make you question your value. This introspective journey builds resilience. When we're able to derive strength from within rather than relying on external sources, we become less vulnerable to others' choices. You find that you are your own safe place, capable of weathering the shifts and changes that come with relationships. So you realize that your happiness isn't rooted in someone's presence or approval. It's within you, accessible and constant, even when others come and go. Turning inward ultimately cultivates self-compassion, one of the most powerful tools in navigating life's ups and downs. When you are kind to yourself, you don't need to endlessly chase after others to feel whole or seek validation to prove your worth. You become your own ally. You understand that while others might distance themselves, you have the unwavering support of your own heart and mind. This self-compassion also makes it easier to forgive both yourself and others, allowing you to release resentment and embrace peace. When someone distances themselves, instead of fixating on the why, turn inward and ask yourself how you can grow from the experience. Focus on nurturing your interests, passions, and dreams. Reconnect with the activities and goals that bring you joy and fulfillment. Surround yourself with people who appreciate and celebrate you for who you are. By pouring into your own life, you create a foundation of happiness and purpose that isn't easily shaken by someone else's actions. As you turn inward, you may even find that the right people begin to gravitate toward you. Genuine connections flourish when you are truly yourself, whole and content within. The energy you cultivate from within draws people to you, people who value and respect you without the need for chasing or proving. Inward focus is a practice, a journey, a way of embracing life that builds self-assurance and resilience. It's a reminder that your happiness, worth, and peace are yours to create. When others distance themselves, it doesn't diminish your light. Your value is inherent, and the inward journey is simply a way to discover, nurture, and celebrate that truth. When someone distances themselves from us, it's common to feel a void, a sense of loss, or even a pang of rejection. These feelings can weigh heavily, leading us to question ourselves and wonder what went wrong. But rather than allowing this experience to drain our energy, it can serve as a catalyst to embrace self-care and personal growth. By shifting the focus to nurturing ourselves, we begin a process of healing that not only fills that void, but also strengthens us, making us better equipped to handle similar experiences in the future. Embracing self-care is about turning your attention towards your well-being in a deliberate and meaningful way. Self-care goes beyond pampering or indulging in fleeting pleasures. It's about dedicating time and energy to activities, routines, and habits that nurture your mental, emotional, and physical health. In times of emotional distress, like when someone you care about becomes distant, self-care becomes an essential tool for navigating those feelings. By focusing on what you need to feel whole, loved, and supported, you empower yourself to grow through the experience rather than letting it diminish you. A good first step is to listen to what your body and mind are telling you. Often, when we're emotionally affected by someone's distance, our stress levels rise, affecting our sleep, our energy, and even our ability to focus on daily tasks. Pay attention to these signs as indicators that your body and mind are craving attention and care. Simple practices like getting enough rest, eating nourishing foods, and engaging in regular physical activity can be grounding. Exercise, in particular, can be a powerful way to channel frustration and sadness as it releases endorphins that lift your mood and helps reduce the physical effects of stress on your body. Part of embracing growth is also recognizing your worth independently of others. Relationships should never define our sense of self, rather, they should complement it. Take this time to reconnect with your personal goals and aspirations. Consider what areas of your life you'd like to focus on, whether that's advancing in your career, developing a new skill, or strengthening your financial independence. Setting personal goals and working toward them not only keeps you focused and motivated, but also reinforces the idea that your happiness and fulfillment don't rely on anyone else. This empowerment becomes a foundation of strength that supports you through life's inevitable changes and transitions. Self-compassion plays a vital role in both self-care and personal growth. Be kind to yourself through the process. Understand that feeling hurt or disappointed is part of the human experience, and it's okay to give yourself the grace to feel those emotions without rushing to fix them. By treating yourself with gentleness, you foster an inner environment where healing and growth are possible. Self-compassion allows you to see yourself not as someone who's been rejected or ignored, but as someone worthy of love and care, both from yourself and from others who truly value you. As you embrace self-care and growth, you might notice that your confidence gradually strengthens. You're building a life that's meaningful and fulfilling on your terms, and this radiates outward. When we cultivate self-worth and invest in personal growth, we develop a resilient sense of confidence that isn't shaken by the comings and goings of others. This confidence doesn't mean you won't feel the sting of someone's distance, but it does mean that you'll trust in your ability to move forward, knowing that your happiness doesn't hinge on anyone else's choices. Self-care and growth in this context are about cultivating a deep, sustaining love for yourself. You're reminding yourself that you are deserving of attention, effort, and kindness, not only from others, but from yourself. The path may not always be easy, and there will be days when self-care feels like a struggle. But each step you take in caring for yourself and pursuing growth is a step toward a more balanced, fulfilled, and resilient you. Through this journey, you're building a life that's rich and vibrant, supported by the powerful foundation of your own love and commitment to your well-being. When someone distances themselves or withdraws, it's natural to feel a wave of confusion and even hurt. Often, our first reaction is to try to interpret their behavior, filling in the blanks with assumptions about what went wrong. We might think they must be upset with me, or did I do something to offend them? This tendency to jump to conclusions is a human response rooted in our desire for clarity and control. But in reality, making assumptions often leads to misunderstanding and emotional distress. Instead of assuming, choosing not to jump to conclusions can become a powerful approach to navigate these situations with empathy and wisdom. The antidote to assumptions is cultivating patience and practicing open-mindedness. Instead of jumping to conclusions, try to remind yourself that there are likely many factors at play. This approach helps you to create mental space, reducing the urge to immediately assign meaning to someone's actions. Patience allows you to resist the impulse to interpret their behavior immediately. When we give people time and space, we allow them to navigate their challenges in their own way. Rather than rushing to conclusions or demanding explanations, patience invites us to observe without judgment. This mindset shift is not only beneficial for our own peace of mind, but also shows respect for the other person's autonomy. We all process emotions and navigate life differently, and allowing others the room to do so fosters mutual respect. For instance, if a friend becomes distant, rather than assuming they're upset with you, consider that they might be dealing with stress at work or going through a personal issue. By avoiding assumptions, you create a supportive environment where, if and when they're ready, they might feel comfortable enough to share their struggles with you. Another important aspect of avoiding assumptions is reframing your initial thoughts and reactions. When you start to think, they must not like me anymore, or they're ignoring me on purpose, consciously pause and challenge these thoughts. Ask yourself, do I know this for sure? Is it possible that something else is affecting their behavior? This practice, known in psychology as cognitive reframing, helps to distance yourself from negative thoughts and allows for a more balanced perspective. By rephrasing your inner dialogue, you become less likely to jump to harsh conclusions, opening yourself up to possibilities beyond your initial interpretation. Avoiding assumptions also requires a degree of self-awareness. When you find yourself making assumptions about someone else's behavior, it's often a reflection of your own needs or insecurities. Maybe you assume someone is upset with you because you're sensitive to rejection, or you interpret their silence as disinterest because you fear abandonment. Recognizing these patterns can help you differentiate between what's genuinely happening and how you're interpreting it based on your own inner landscape. Self-awareness allows you to approach these situations with more objectivity and helps you avoid placing undue blame on yourself. Empathy also plays a crucial role in avoiding assumptions. When we consider that everyone is carrying their own burdens and facing their own battles, we become less likely to take their actions personally. Empathy reminds us that we don't always know what someone else is going through, and that their behavior is likely influenced by factors we can't see or understand fully. By choosing empathy, we create an environment that fosters understanding and compassion, both for others and for ourselves. Sometimes avoiding assumptions means opening the door to honest communication. If you feel comfortable, you can reach out to the person gently and ask if everything is okay. It's important to approach this conversation with a genuine desire to understand rather than to confront or blame. For example, saying something like, "I've noticed you seem a bit distant lately. Is everything all right?" can create a safe space for the person to share if they feel inclined. However, be prepared for the possibility that they may not want to share or may need more time. Respect their response without pressing for answers, as not everyone is comfortable discussing personal challenges openly. When someone distances themselves from us or fails to reciprocate our feelings, it's natural to feel rejected. The pain of perceived rejection often brings with it feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and even shame. We may question our worth or wonder what we did wrong, interpreting someone else's actions as a reflection of our own value. But in moments like these, there's an opportunity to shift the narrative. Instead of focusing on rejection, we can choose empowerment, turning the experience into a powerful catalyst for personal growth and resilience. Choosing empowerment over rejection isn't about dismissing our emotions or pretending we're unaffected. It's about consciously reframing the experience in a way that strengthens rather than diminishes us. Empowerment begins with reclaiming control over our interpretation of events. When someone pulls away, it's easy to give their actions the power to dictate how we feel about ourselves. But their choice to distance themselves does not inherently reflect a lack of worth on our part. Their behavior is often influenced by factors we have no control over, such as their personal insecurities, past experiences, or challenges. By viewing the situation from this broader perspective, we can reduce the tendency to take it personally. Instead of internalizing rejection, we acknowledge that everyone operates within their own set of circumstances, and their actions aren't necessarily a reflection of who we are. This shift in perspective enables us to reclaim our sense of worth and self-respect. One empowering way to handle rejection is to focus on nurturing our self-esteem. Rejection can amplify our insecurities, making us question our attractiveness, our talents, or even our fundamental likability. But rather than letting these insecurities take root, we can use this experience to actively reaffirm our strengths and values. This might involve spending time reflecting on what we love about ourselves, recognizing our achievements, and acknowledging the qualities that make us unique. Practicing self-love and self-acceptance builds resilience, so we're less dependent on external validation. This internal sense of worth acts as a buffer, making us less vulnerable to the ups and downs of others' opinions or actions. Empowerment also involves taking responsibility for our own happiness. While relationships are a source of joy, fulfillment, and support, they should never be the sole source of our contentment. When we encounter rejection, it's a reminder that our happiness is something we can create independently. This realization encourages us to invest time and energy into the activities, goals, and passions that bring us joy. By focusing on personal fulfillment, we become less likely to seek validation from others and more capable of finding satisfaction within ourselves. This not only enhances our resilience in the face of rejection, but also cultivates a life that is rich and meaningful on its own. Another way to turn rejection into empowerment is by embracing it as an opportunity for growth. When someone distances themselves, it can serve as a chance to examine the relationship more objectively. Did the relationship align with our values? Were we truly happy, or were we compromising parts of ourselves to maintain the connection? Sometimes rejection sheds light on aspects of a relationship that weren't fulfilling or healthy. By using the experience as a lens for self-reflection, we can gain insights that inform future choices. Each instance of rejection, painful as it may be, can teach us more about what we want, what we need, and what we're willing to compromise on in relationships. Empowerment also comes from setting and respecting our own boundaries. When we feel rejected, there can be a temptation to chase after the person, to seek their approval or attention in an attempt to win them back. But empowerment means recognizing that we don't have to prove ourselves to anyone. We deserve relationships that honor and appreciate us, and if someone chooses to pull away, we have the right to respect their choice without compromising our dignity. Holding firm to our boundaries reinforces the idea that our worth isn't contingent upon another person's validation. Empowerment in the face of rejection isn't about denying pain, it's about refusing to let that pain define us. It's a choice to see our inherent value, to focus on our growth, and to build a life that is grounded in self-respect and inner strength. Instead of allowing someone else's actions to control our sense of self, we take control of our narrative, choosing to let the experience enrich us rather than diminish us. Empowerment reminds us that, while we may not have control over others' actions, we always have control over our response, and with that power, we can transform even the most painful rejections into profound opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Our time and energy are two of our most valuable resources, yet they often go underappreciated or taken for granted. We have a tendency to give both away freely, sometimes without consideration, especially in relationships, work, and social obligations. In moments when we feel overlooked or rejected, it becomes even more crucial to recognize the worth of our energy and time. By valuing these resources, we not only protect ourselves from emotional exhaustion, but we also empower ourselves to invest in areas of life that truly serve our well-being and goals. One of the first steps in valuing our energy and time is recognizing how easily we can become drained by people, situations, or commitments that don't align with our needs or values. It's easy to overextend ourselves, especially when we're trying to meet the expectations of others. We might feel compelled to say yes to invitations, accept additional work, or engage in relationships that demand more from us than we're able to give. Over time, this depletion takes its toll. Our emotional, mental, and physical reserves become stretched thin, and we can find ourselves in a state of burnout, feeling disconnected from our own needs and desires. Valuing our time and energy means recognizing when we are being spread too thin and taking the necessary steps to protect our well-being. Another aspect of valuing your energy is being mindful of where and how you invest your time. Time, once passed, can never be reclaimed, making it an even more precious resource. It's easy to get caught up in things that don't add value to our lives, scrolling through social media, engaging in pointless arguments, or staying in relationships or situations that drain us. These activities can consume hours of our time without offering any meaningful return. By becoming more intentional with how we spend our time, we can direct it toward things that bring us growth, joy, and fulfillment. This might involve dedicating more time to self-reflection, working on our goals, pursuing hobbies, or cultivating relationships that nourish us. Time also becomes more valuable when we understand that it is finite. None of us know exactly how much time we have, and that uncertainty can serve as a powerful motivator to make every moment count. The more we value our time, the more we seek to spend it in alignment with our true priorities. Rather than waiting for the perfect moment or allowing distractions to steal our focus, we can create a life where our time is spent meaningfully. This could mean carving out time each day for activities that recharge us, like exercise or reading, or focusing on personal development to reach our career goals. Every decision we make about where to spend our time reflects what we value most. A big part of valuing your energy is knowing when to recharge. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and keep pushing ourselves, but burnout can quickly result when we fail to take adequate breaks. Rest isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for maintaining our overall well-being. When we give ourselves permission to rest, whether through sleep, meditation, or simply stepping away from obligations, we replenish our energy reserves and improve our focus, creativity, and emotional resilience. Prioritizing rest is a form of self-respect and acknowledgement that our energy has limits and that taking care of ourselves is essential for performing at our best. In relationships, valuing our energy means investing in people who lift us up and withdrawing from those who consistently drain us. Not every relationship is meant to be maintained, and some people will continuously take from us without offering anything in return. Whether it's emotionally or physically, these relationships can leave us feeling depleted and unappreciated. Recognizing when a relationship is no longer serving us and giving ourselves permission to distance from it is a powerful act of self-respect. Instead of investing our time and energy in toxic dynamics, we can choose to surround ourselves with people who respect our boundaries, appreciate our time, and contribute positively to our lives. Valuing your energy and time also means setting clear intentions about what you want to achieve. Whether it's personal, professional, or relational goals, being clear about what you want helps you direct your energy in focused ways. Instead of spreading yourself thin or feeling scattered, you can prioritize actions that bring you closer to your vision of the future. Each small step you take toward your goals is a conscious investment of your time and energy, and by remaining aligned with your intentions, you ensure that your resources are being used in ways that are meaningful to you. Gratitude for the lessons learned means acknowledging that even the most painful experiences have value. At times we may face disappointments, rejection, or failure, and it can be difficult to see any positive aspect in these moments. But in hindsight, these experiences often reveal lessons we wouldn't have otherwise discovered. When we choose to be grateful for the lessons, we open ourselves up to the wisdom hidden within those challenges. It allows us to embrace the idea that life is not just about achieving success or avoiding pain, but about learning, growing, and evolving through every circumstance. By practicing gratitude for lessons learned, we also start to change our relationship with failure. Failure, in particular, is often viewed negatively in a society that values success and achievement. However, failure, when reframed as a teacher, becomes an essential part of the learning process. Each failure is a reminder that we are human, that we are trying, and that we are still capable of growth. Instead of seeing failure as something to be avoided or feared, we begin to appreciate it as a necessary step toward mastering new skills, ideas, or approaches. The process of learning from mistakes allows us to develop resilience, humility, and self-awareness. Gratitude helps us to approach failure not as something to resent, but as an opportunity for reflection and improvement. Gratitude for lessons also involves embracing the concept of impermanence. Life is filled with constant change, and not all experiences will last forever, whether those experiences are good or bad. In moments of difficulty, gratitude allows us to hold onto the understanding that tough times are temporary, just as periods of joy and success are fleeting, so are moments of struggle and hardship. Embracing this transient nature of life frees us from the grip of suffering and helps us appreciate the lessons each experience offers, knowing that even the most challenging circumstances will eventually pass. The power of gratitude is that it shifts our focus from what's lacking or painful to what's valuable and meaningful. Even in the most difficult times, we can find lessons that enrich our lives and contribute to our personal development. Whether it's learning patience, resilience, or self-compassion, each experience holds an opportunity to evolve. When we choose gratitude, we are not only honoring the lessons learned, but we are also actively participating in our own growth. Incorporating gratitude into our daily lives doesn't require grand gestures or constant positivity. It simply involves taking a moment to reflect on the lessons we've learned and the ways in which those lessons have shaped us. It may mean journaling about our experiences, having a conversation with a friend about our growth, or simply taking a few minutes to sit quietly and acknowledge how far we've come. With this practice, we can shift our focus from what didn't go right to what we can take away from each situation. The result is a life that feels richer, more fulfilling, and more aligned with our true selves. Gratitude for lessons learned is an invitation to look at our challenges through a lens of possibility and growth. It encourages us to find wisdom in even the most difficult moments, to be grateful for the lessons that guide us toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. Sometimes staying open to new connections requires vulnerability. It can be intimidating to introduce ourselves to new people, especially if we've been hurt in the past or have faced rejection. But vulnerability is the foundation of meaningful relationships. It allows us to build trust and establish authentic connections with others. When we make ourselves open to others, we invite them to do the same, creating an environment where both people feel safe to be their true selves. While there is always a risk of disappointment or rejection, the rewards of genuine connection far outweigh the temporary discomfort of putting ourselves out there. The more we practice vulnerability, the easier it becomes to stay open to new relationships and experiences. It's important to note that staying open to new connections doesn't mean forcing relationships or feeling obligated to connect with everyone. Not all connections will resonate, and that's perfectly okay. What matters is maintaining a mindset that is willing to embrace new people and new experiences when the opportunity arises. Not every relationship will be deep or long-lasting, but each one holds the potential for something valuable, whether it's a fleeting moment of inspiration or a lasting bond. The key is to remain receptive to the possibility of connection without forcing it or expecting it to fit into a particular framework. In a world that can sometimes feel disconnected, staying open to new connections fosters a sense of belonging and mutual support. The act of reaching out to others, whether through small gestures, conversations, or shared activities, builds bridges between individuals and communities. These connections can serve as a reminder that we are all interconnected, each of us contributing our unique energy, perspectives, and experiences to the world. By staying open, we allow ourselves to be part of something bigger than ourselves, creating a ripple effect of kindness, support, and understanding that spreads across our lives and the lives of others. As we open ourselves to new connections, we create a life that is dynamic, expansive, and full of opportunities. Every person we meet has the potential to bring something valuable into our lives, whether it's a lesson, a friendship, or a new perspective. The more we practice staying open to these connections, the more we enrich our own journey and contribute to the growth and well-being of those around us. Being open to new connections is not just about building relationships, it's about embracing the infinite possibilities that life offers and allowing those possibilities to shape us in ways we could never have imagined. In a world where demands from work, family, and social life are constantly pulling at us, it can be easy to lose sight of our own needs. Many of us are conditioned to put others first, often at the expense of our own well-being. As a result, we may find ourselves feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or even resentful when our boundaries are constantly crossed. Strengthening your boundaries is a vital practice that ensures you protect your energy, maintain your sense of self, and nurture your relationships in a way that serves your overall well-being. At its core, boundaries are the limits we set to protect ourselves, both physically and emotionally. These boundaries can be set in various areas of our lives, such as our time, space, energy, and emotions. Setting clear boundaries isn't about building walls to shut others out, but rather about communicating our needs and protecting our personal space. By strengthening our boundaries, we create a healthy framework that allows us to engage with others while still prioritizing our own needs and desires. The first step in strengthening your boundaries is developing a deep understanding of what your needs are. Too often, we give so much of ourselves to others that we lose sight of what we truly need in order to feel balanced and fulfilled. It's important to ask yourself, what do I need to feel rested, nourished, and supported? What activities or relationships drain my energy? What are my deal breakers in terms of how others treat me? These questions are the starting point for identifying where your boundaries need to be set. An essential part of strengthening your boundaries is learning how to say no. Saying no can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to people pleasing or avoiding conflict. However, saying no is a necessary skill for maintaining healthy boundaries. It's not selfish to decline an invitation, turn down a request, or set limits on your time. Saying no is a powerful way of affirming your worth and acknowledging that your time, energy, and well-being matter. When you say no, you make space for the things that truly matter to you and ensure that you're not overburdened with obligations that leave you feeling drained. Saying no may feel difficult at first, but with practice, it becomes a natural and essential part of maintaining your boundaries. Strengthening your boundaries also involves recognizing and addressing any feelings of guilt or fear that may arise when you set them. It's natural to feel guilty when you say no or prioritize your own needs over others, but it's important to remember that setting boundaries is not about being selfish, it's about self-preservation. If you constantly put the needs of others ahead of your own, you risk burning out and becoming resentful. Boundaries are a form of self-care, and by honoring your own needs, you can show up more fully for others when you do choose to engage. Overcoming guilt may take time, but it becomes easier as you begin to recognize that taking care of yourself ultimately benefits everyone around you. Another crucial aspect of strengthening boundaries is learning how to enforce them. Setting boundaries is only effective if you consistently uphold them. If you allow others to repeatedly cross your boundaries without consequence, you send the message that your needs are not important. Enforcing your boundaries doesn't mean being confrontational. It's about holding firm and calmly reminding others of the limits you've set. For example, if a coworker continues to interrupt your personal time, you might say, "I've mentioned before that I don't take work calls after 7 p.m. I will respond to your message tomorrow." Being consistent in enforcing your boundaries reinforces your self-respect and encourages others to honor your limits as well. As you strengthen your boundaries, it's also important to recognize that not everyone will respect them. Some people may push back or react negatively, especially if they are used to having unrestricted access to your time, attention, or energy. It's essential to stay firm in your boundaries even when faced with resistance. Remember that your boundaries are about protecting your well-being, and it's okay to distance yourself from people who do not respect them. You have the right to choose who gets access to your time and energy, and those who truly care for you will understand and support your need for boundaries. By setting and maintaining strong boundaries, you take control of your life and ensure that you are nurturing your well-being while still being available to others in healthy, balanced ways. Strengthening your boundaries allows you to live in alignment with your values, priorities, and needs, creating a life that is more fulfilling, peaceful, and authentic. Inherent worth means that your value is intrinsic to who you are as a person. It is not something that can be earned, bought, or lost. This worth is woven into the very fabric of your existence based on your unique qualities, experiences, and perspective. You were born with this worth, and it remains constant regardless of your achievements or shortcomings. This understanding challenges the common narrative that our value is linked to our productivity, attractiveness, or how much we accomplish. In reality, your worth cannot be quantified or measured by these external metrics, for it is far deeper and more enduring than anything that can be achieved or acquired. When we start to internalize the idea that our worth is inherent, we begin to separate ourselves from the constant pursuit of validation. Many people find themselves trapped in the cycle of seeking approval, whether it's through social media, accolades, or the opinions of others. This external validation can be intoxicating, providing a temporary sense of self-worth, but it's not sustainable. Validation from others is not a reliable source of self-esteem because it's often inconsistent and dependent on external factors that are beyond our control. If we base our sense of worth on the approval of others, we risk becoming dependent on their opinions, leaving us vulnerable to disappointment, rejection, and insecurity. On the other hand, when we recognize that our worth is inherent, we stop seeking validation outside ourselves. We begin to validate ourselves. This shift in mindset is liberating. It empowers us to make decisions based on our true desires and values rather than trying to meet the expectations of others. It helps us develop a strong sense of self, grounded in the knowledge that our worth is not tied to the approval or recognition of the world around us. With this understanding, we are free to pursue our goals, express our individuality, and embrace our uniqueness without the fear of judgment or rejection. Inherent worth also means embracing imperfections and mistakes as part of the human experience. So often, people tie their worth to their ability to perform flawlessly, to meet high standards, or to avoid failure. When we make a mistake or face a setback, we may feel as though we failed ourselves or lost value. However, our worth is not diminished by failure. It is in these very moments that we often grow the most. Imperfections are what make us human, and they offer opportunities for learning and growth. Embracing our inherent worth allows us to approach challenges with self-compassion, recognizing that failure is not a reflection of our value as individuals, but rather a stepping stone toward improvement. Living with the knowledge that our worth is inherent also helps us navigate the challenges of life with greater resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and at times we may face rejection, disappointment, or criticism. These experiences can be painful, but they don't diminish our value as individuals. When we know our worth is intrinsic, we are able to weather the storms of life with grace and strength. We no longer tie our self-esteem to how others treat us or the outcomes of our endeavors. Instead, we recognize that we are worthy of love, respect, and compassion simply because we exist. This mindset allows us to bounce back from adversity and continue moving forward with a sense of purpose and self-assurance. Another important aspect of recognizing your inherent worth is the freedom it gives you to let go of comparisons. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with images of success, beauty, and achievement, often leading us to compare ourselves to others. These comparisons can make us feel inadequate or like we are falling short. However, when we embrace the idea that our worth is inherent and unique, we no longer feel the need to compare ourselves to others. We understand that everyone's journey is different and that our value is not diminished by what others have or achieve. This freedom from comparison allows us to celebrate our own progress, appreciate our individual strengths, and embrace the path that is uniquely ours. One of the most profound effects of recognizing that your worth is inherent is the ability to practice self-love. So often people struggle with self-criticism, negative self-talk, and feelings of inadequacy. These beliefs are often rooted in the misconception that we are only as valuable as our accomplishments or how we are perceived by others. However, when we internalize the truth that our worth is inherent, we begin to treat ourselves with the same love, kindness, and compassion that we would offer to a friend. This self-love is not about arrogance or vanity. It is about honoring our unique qualities, accepting our imperfections, and embracing our own humanity. It's about treating ourselves with respect and nurturing our well-being from a place of deep self-acceptance. Inherent worth is a reminder that you are enough as you are. It is not something that needs to be earned or achieved. It is already within you. By embracing this truth, we free ourselves from the pressures of seeking external validation, and we begin to live authentically, with confidence and peace. Recognizing your inherent worth is an empowering realization that changes how you view yourself and how you engage with the world around you. It allows you to live with the knowledge that your value is unshakable, and that you are deserving of all the love, respect, and opportunities that come your way. Moving forward with positivity and peace is about choosing to live with an open heart, a hopeful mindset, and a calm demeanor, no matter what challenges life throws at us. It's a conscious decision to let go of past pain, embrace the present moment, and move ahead with the belief that we have the ability to shape our future. The journey toward positivity and peace requires intentional effort, self-awareness, and a commitment to nurturing our mental and emotional well-being. When we choose to move forward with a positive attitude, we invite growth, healing, and fulfillment into our lives. Positivity is also rooted in gratitude. Practicing gratitude helps us focus on what we have rather than what we lack, and it shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance. When we express gratitude for the small things in life, whether it's a warm cup of coffee, a beautiful sunset, or a kind word from a friend, we invite more positive energy into our lives. Gratitude has the power to transform our outlook on life, helping us see the good in even the most difficult circumstances. It reminds us that there is always something to be thankful for, even when things don't go as planned. By regularly practicing gratitude, we build resilience and enhance our ability to stay positive, no matter what obstacles we may face. Another key element of moving forward with positivity is letting go of the past. We all have experiences or memories that can weigh us down, mistakes we've made, relationships that ended, or dreams that didn't come to fruition. These past experiences can often keep us stuck, preventing us from moving forward with hope and excitement. However, holding on to the past can also prevent us from fully embracing the present moment. Letting go of past hurts or regrets doesn't mean forgetting them. It means choosing not to let them define who we are today or who we can become in the future. Moving forward with positivity requires us to make peace with our past, to forgive ourselves and others, and to release any grudges or negative emotions that might be holding us back. Moving forward with peace, on the other hand, is about cultivating an inner calm that allows us to navigate life's challenges with grace. Life is unpredictable, and there will always be times when we feel anxious, stressed, or overwhelmed. However, the key to peace is not avoiding these feelings, but learning how to respond to them in a healthy way. One of the most effective ways to cultivate peace is through mindfulness practices such as meditation, deep breathing, or journaling. These practices help us connect with the present moment, quiet our minds, and reduce the noise of stress and worry. When we take time each day to center ourselves, we create a foundation of inner peace that allows us to face life's challenges with a calm and focused mindset. Self-care is another essential component of moving forward with peace. Taking care of our physical, emotional, and mental health is crucial for maintaining a sense of balance and serenity. This might mean setting boundaries to protect our time and energy, engaging in activities that bring us joy and relaxation, or seeking support from others when we need it. When we prioritize our well-being, we create the conditions necessary for peace to flourish. It's important to recognize that peace is not something that can be found outside of ourselves. It is something we must cultivate within. By nurturing our own needs and practicing self-compassion, we lay the groundwork for a peaceful and fulfilling life. In order to move forward with both positivity and peace, we must also learn to embrace uncertainty and change. Life is constantly evolving, and the path forward is rarely a straight line. We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to those circumstances. Embracing change with a positive attitude allows us to adapt and grow, even when things don't go according to plan. Instead of resisting change or fearing the unknown, we can choose to see it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. When we approach life with an open heart and mind, we create space for new experiences, new relationships, and new possibilities. This mindset of acceptance allows us to move forward with peace, knowing that everything in life is temporary and ever-changing. A big part of moving forward with positivity and peace is surrounding ourselves with people who uplift and support us. The people we spend time with have a significant influence on our energy, mindset, and overall well-being. Being around people who are positive, compassionate, and encouraging helps to reinforce our own positive attitude. In contrast, being around negative or toxic individuals can drain our energy and make it more difficult to maintain peace. It's important to cultivate relationships with people who inspire us, motivate us to be our best selves, and provide emotional support when we need it most. Positive relationships are a key factor in helping us stay on track as we move forward with positivity and peace. Choosing to move forward with positivity and peace is a powerful decision that can transform every aspect of our lives. It allows us to approach life with hope, embrace challenges with resilience, and navigate difficulties with grace. Through a mindset of positivity, a practice of self-care, and a commitment to inner peace, we can face whatever comes our way with strength, confidence, and a sense of serenity.